On behalf of St. Philomena's College and the Department of Commerce and Management, it's a great privilege to welcome all of you to this session. The session is on career opportunities for the final year Commerce and Management students. So I'm sure that the students are enthusiastically waiting for this session. I welcome our Rector, Reverend Father Bernard Prakash Barnes, Vice Rector Maria Xavier, Principal Dr. Ruth Shanta Kumari, Vice Principal Sanjay Nair sir, and the Dean of Commerce and Management, Dr. Reena Francis. I also take this privilege of welcoming our today's speaker, Professor Surjay Brat Burogehin. I hope faculties of the Commerce and Management Department. It's a great pleasure. I welcome one and all present here. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us. Now we have a message for the students from the principal of St. Philomena's College, Dr. Ruth Shanta Kumari, followed by a message by the Dean of Commerce and Management, Dr. Ruth.
Welcome to St. Philomena's College. Friends, COVID-19 pandemic situation has forced us to think differently, act differently. And in this situation, education is also taking a different shape. Traditional, conventional conferences and seminars, classrooms are now becoming online activities. In the same direction, Department of Commerce and Management of St. Philomena's College is organizing a webinar, and this webinar has our final year BCom and BBM students from more than 10 different colleges in the city, and the topics discussed will be about how you are going to become an employer instead of becoming an employee. That is about self-employment. And the other issue which is going to be discussed is what are the career opportunities in private and public sector. And also the third issue which will be discussed is what after BCom and BPM. So these are the issues discussed in this webinar. I wish all the participants from different colleges of Mysore to have a best of exposure in these issues, and let this webinar be a very fruitful experience for all of you. I congratulate.
Welcome to all participants for this webinar on career opportunities for commerce and management graduates. I'm sure this topic is nothing new for you because every college has taken necessary steps to create awareness related to the various opportunities, and definitely each one of you had dreamt of doing something soon after your examination. But unfortunately, things are different. Probably you're not able to fulfill your dreams right now, but it is not too late for you to think and fulfill your dreams. Our sole idea of coming to this platform or bringing this webinar is to bring back your dreams to reality. Definitely, every student soon after your exam would prefer to do any one of the opportunities that you have that we would mention here. Some of you would prefer to go for a post-graduation degree, MCom, MBA, or any other post-graduation degree where you are eligible or probably of your interest. Some of you may also think of taking a professional course, and you may prefer to do CA, CS, CMA, CPA, or even ACCA for that matter. And definitely for a graduate student, there are few paper exemptions too. So you can think on that lines. And some of you can even think of exploring a business idea to become an entrepreneur. Starting a business is not that difficult, but As of now, the situation is not that okay. So you have to definitely think differently to launch a business. And some of you can also think of helping your parents, your relatives, or your family members who are already into business. And a little later, you can think a business for yourself. And definitely, everything is not going to be the same for a long time. Things will change, and you can definitely do wonders in your life. Dear participants, don't lose heart. There is much, much better things that you can do in your life. Now it's time for you to rethink on what you have to do. Probably quickly you will have to plan for the pending exam, that is sixth semester exam, and then give more emphasis on your future opportunities. There is a bright future for you all. Wish you all a very best in your future endeavor. Thank you for your patience listening. And now I request Ms. Deepa V, Assistant Professor of Department of Management, to take over and introduce the speaker for this session.
Professor Surya Buragoin is an academician come entrepreneur. Over the last 10 years, he has founded 2 startups and has been mentoring entrepreneurs in the areas of idea generation, innovation, opportunity, evaluation, business model, and business planning. A certified entrepreneurship educator from the National Entrepreneurship Network, Wadhwani Foundation USA, and Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. He has conducted more than 75 workshops, management development programs, faculty development programs across the country. Prior to the entrepreneurial journey, he had worked in oil and gas industry and management consulting in India, Singapore, and Norway. He has 20 years of extensive experience in strategic management, business development, human resource management, financial management, and general management. He is associated with IBS Business School, Bangalore as an associate dean and teaches entrepreneurship, strategic management, organizational behavior, human resource management, and customer relationship management. He did his bachelor's and master's in English literature from University of Delhi and his MBA in finance and entrepreneurship from Queensland University of Technology, Australia. He lives by the mantra initiate, innovate, and change. I welcome you, sir. Over to the resource person now.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I'm Surya Buragoin, and I'm speaking to you from our campus, ICFI Business School, Bangalore. And I wish you all a very good morning to all the faculty members of St. Philomena's and all the dignitaries and all the students. It is such a privilege and an honor today to be with you today. And as already, it has been mentioned about the topic which is so relevant now and the current scenario in terms of the 3, important things that we are going to talk about and discuss in terms of the career opportunities, in terms of higher learning, and also in terms of self-employment, right? So, because we have limited time and so many things, we can always talk. And therefore, let me start, straight away without much ado, so that there are some takeaways. I hope that there are some takeaways for all of you, 3 different, aspects that we are going to talk, right? So first of all, let me start with my understanding and interpretation of this whole thing, that in the meantime, let me put on my interpretation is that how I look at it, I look at this situation as something is part of our changes that happens in the environment. So I have been in the field of, management education, practicing management in terms of my startups. And overall, my philosophy of life is that, you have to keep changing and keep preparing. Change is the only, constant that we have. And if we look at, that is why I remember when I used to be in Singapore, there is a museum called Raffles Museum. In Raffles Museum, there is a plaque. It is written there at the entrance. It is a quote by their former Prime Minister, late Lee Kuan Yew. It says that, we should always study history, because if we understand history, it will help us to, interpret the present, what is going on in the present. And it will help us to anticipate the future, how future is going to be unfolded, right? So that is how it is very important for us that we keep on, what you call reinventing ourselves, learning through learning and relearning. And whether it is COVID today, something else tomorrow, we have to go on, changing and adapting to the changes that happens in the environment, right? So that should be the spirit. There is no reason for any of us to be pessimist and any of us to be, thinking that there is some kind of calamity going on. No, these changes are part of life and entire history of humankind. We have come across various kind of trials and tribulations and man-made or nature or whatever you can call it, but we have overcome. Human spirit, human endeavor has, prevailed. So in terms of our preparation, in terms of the skills and knowledge and abilities and attitude that we have to keep on acquiring, how to be agile and how to be resilient, is because, the changes in the environment and what is required now, when we talk about, I'm not even comfortable with this term called post-COVID, I don't know, something else will be there after that, I don't know what it would be, but it would be some kind of technology, some kind of other thing, some kind of organism, but we will have to keep on changing, adapting to the changes that will keep on occurring, okay? So it is just like that. I mean, do we need a good health and immunity only today? No, we have to always, as human beings, we have to always focus on nutrition, whether there is COVID or no COVID, right? So there are so many people who have been, building their health system, not because there will be COVID, but it is part of our philosophy, part of our mindset. So I would say that, look at career opportunities, look at learning, education, and look at, any opportunities for entrepreneurship and self-employment as part of our natural way, in the next 30 to 35 years of your working life, because all of you are students of, a UG program, BBA and BCom, that is what I understand. So as you look at the future, at least you have 30 to 40 years of working life. And in those 30 to 40 years of working life, you will be adapting and reinventing yourself, so many times, that is how the journey is. So focusing on what the topic of the day today, I'm just going to start with a small 2-3 minutes video that please, bear with me. I'm going to show you that what is the thing that we have to learn actually now that there is a situation, okay? And that situation, we are talking about the COVID situation, okay? So I'm just going to share a small video. So just hang on, I'm putting on the video. Yeah. So that it, puts the entire discussion into perspective, I'm just putting on the video, just hold on. Okay, here it goes. I hope all of you can see this, yes. saw that video and takeaways from that video. What is it that we have taken away from that video? I would say, for me, when we talk about the workplace now, contactless, the social distancing, digital technologies, right? So these are kind of that are happening, and this is where I feel that there is a little bit of change in the change process that we are anyway undergoing, because we are part of the industry 4.0, right? I'm sure many of you are familiar that when we started, the steam engine was invented. Since then, we have gone through, the industry has gone through a lot of structural changes, industry 1.0 with the steam engine, industry 2.0, the assembly line, industry 3.0, the computers and the internet, industry 4.0 right now, where human beings, machines, we both interact, robots and human beings, we both interact in the workplace. But now what is happening is, maybe we have moved a few years ahead because of the COVID situation, and the workplace has become like this, where there is, social distancing, and it is contactless, and everything has become digital. Okay, so that is the only change I believe. Apart from, of course, we have to take care of our health situation, and staying safe is a different thing. Okay. So now this is what we are talking about. So we're going ahead in terms of jobs, right? In terms of jobs, what I'm going to present to you is based on our interactions with our recruiters, right? In IBS, we have been providing, as you know, management program, MBAs and postgraduate program in management. And we are there for the last 25 years. And we have our relationships with various recruiters across many sectors. And as our placement process season starts, cycle starts sometime from September onwards, we have already started interacting with our recruiters. Like every year we do that, and this year, of course, through social distancing, we are doing it. But the inputs that we are receiving, and all the people who are coming and talking to our students, and we have various kind of sessions based on those inputs provided by our recruiters. I'm going to present to you, what they are looking for. And also I'm referring to certain research reports that have come up. There are so many other research about jobs and careers. I'm not referring to that. I'm referring to the latest, the post-COVID scenario. Gartner, Deloitte, KPMG, Crosby Textor, for example, Deloitte, KPMG, they are our recruiters. So they have done some research, and their reports I'm referring to put these few slides. So what these companies are, these research agencies are telling, that these are the likely situation right now as the, hiring part. Right now, all the companies, in all the sectors, so whether you are talking about BFSI, whether you are talking about, technology, IT, whether you are talking about consulting, you are talking about any other, organizations, you will find that, right now they are trying to kind of come out with this kind of, the terminology that you use, the bandwidth, that how many people and at what level we are going to need, and what are the areas, what are the skill sets, right? So while they're doing that, we have been advised that these are certain things, that we have to keep in mind, in terms of knowledge and skills. Gig economy, already has been there for the last few years, and that kind of gig economy jobs, you know what is gig economy? I mean, have you noticed how, in the last 5 to 7 years, things have changed, that everything and job has become a very different, workplace has become very different. Jobs are temporary, jobs are contract based. You have the concept of Ola, Uber, Airbnb, that kind of concept, right? So more and more, we are seeing that the world had already, much before the COVID situation, moved into the gig economy, and suddenly, that model of gig economy has become more relevant and more, way forward, how to go. So these are the changes, as you know, and we will talk about certain skills and specific things, what they are looking for, teaching and learning. So we must now get accustomed to how do we learn, because this is the only way forward. I would say, if one word that I can tell you, that what is the way forward, that is about learning, and we are already in some school of thought says that we have already moved from the knowledge economy and we are into the wisdom economy. And in the wisdom economy and the knowledge economy that we are part of in the industry 4.0, we are also in the gig economy, right? So how do we kind of, keep ourselves relevant and shield our careers from all the disruptive changes? The key is learning. And then learning is not now only, in the confines of the four walls of a classroom. The learning is now, ubiquitous, anytime, anywhere, right? And that you have to get accustomed to. Next is very important, whether you are from BBA, whether you are from BCom, whether you are from a, BTech or any other kind of areas, and particularly for students from your background, data sciences, data analytics, data visualization. This is become very core. Another area is cloud computing. I mean, mind it, these are things not for engineers only. These are things for all of us, who are coming from management and commerce background, cloud computing, these technologies, artificial intelligence, machine learning, very, very critical, blockchain technology, cyber security, right? And now what is happening is there are few things, which will come up, based on our interactions, based on all the research report. These are the areas where there are opportunities which are emerging. So opportunities, when we say opportunities, when we say jobs, also take into account, these are not just employment opportunities, but these are also opportunities for someone who is, thinking in terms of self-employment. Someone who is thinking of, starting up something, right? That means starting up a business. So from all aspects, and the third, segment that we are addressing is, higher education. So education has got many outcomes, so let's not go into all those outcomes, how, education, the outcome is that we become a progressive society and all that. There are many outcomes, but we are focusing on one outcome, that is, imparting us knowledge and skills which will help us to be part of the economy, or that means which will help us to engage, in a meaningful, in a gainful way, in the economic activities of the society, so that we have a livelihood and also we contribute to the entire, progress of mankind. So higher education, jobs, preparation for jobs, and preparation for your own business have to be centered around, these are the most emerging things happening. Customer care, I'm sure right now,
customer care, supply chain, personal,
some voice is coming. Is it possible to, keep the mics? Just hold on now. Let me try to mute all. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, fine. So these are, few things which are important in terms of your preparation and your focus on search for jobs, as well as your search for higher education, higher learning, and your search for ideas around which you want to start a business, right? You must be experiencing that whatever services you need right now, and what you need right now, and we are going to talk in terms of, self-employment, customer care, how difficult it is to now, or easy it is to contact a customer care executive when you need certain services sitting at home, for example. Let's say your internet connectivity, when you call up the, internet service providers, how difficult it was in the lockdown 1 and lockdown 2. And now they are slowly, trying to come back on, ways and means to kind of support the customers, right? Supply chain entire, there are many places across India where you will see that people are not able to get certain things, which are part of their essential day-to-day requirements. So how do you apply technology? How do you create efficiency? How do you bring innovation in this entire supply chain? That is the next big thing. Counseling in terms of whether you are talking about people adapting to changes, and people adapting to changes in terms of what you are supposed to learn, what kind of jobs, what kind of training, from there even to, emotional and psychological counseling. This is a big area, right? And consumer research, because research is the basis for any organization to come out with what kind of products and services and to which customer group. So that research is very critical now, because we need to know what customers want and how they want and what features they want, because it has again undergone changes. What you wanted, and you see now so many other businesses which are now struggling. For example, I know a person, who owns a restaurant, and that restaurant business has been flourishing, earlier, and now because of last 4 months of the change in the scenario, he has now transformed that restaurant into a vegetable shop. So you can see that how things are changing and what customers are needing, and that input is so essential for you to create products and services, right? Qualitative analysis focus earlier was, when you talk about the second part, data analytics, more of quantitative, but qualitative analysis, what it is, I am going to show you a little bit later. These things are coming up. And another very important thing, and which is good actually, this because of, there was a very popular book, it is called The World is Flat. Thomas Friedman, in the late 90s, he had written a book, and that was all about the internet technologies, how it has created opportunities for everyone. And this is what is, again, I would emphasize that, for example, TCS has decided that 75 COVID or no COVID. They're saying for the next 2 years, the policy is 75% of their workforce, would be working from home, right? And what is the outcome they are looking at? The cost of running business will go down. People do not have to come to different cities and all that, rent a place, pay rent, and therefore your salaries, etc., that the company has to pay also can be restructured so that people can sit at home, work. Only 25% of the services which are very essential that has to be done in a workplace, that only will be done in the offices. They can cut down on rent, they can cut down on salaries, they can cut down on so many other things, and even the society is going to benefit because of less pollution and traffic and all that. Okay. And of course, we also had seen a lot of opportunities now that the world is globalized, and a lot of people used to move from one place to another for work. Those kind of work definitely, has slowed down, and it will continue to be like that. Fine. Next is, in terms of outcome, as I told you, the gig economy and remote working and salaries in the gig economy are like that. It will be very variable, lot of variable pay. Okay, so these are some of the things, but I want to move ahead to these sectors. So recruiters that we have been interacting, particularly from these sectors, they are a little bit upbeat about, hiring. They are the ones who are saying that, yes, we would need people, we would need freshers, and we will still be looking at, campus processes. And of course, there will be certain skills and certain abilities that the students must have, and that I'm going to talk next. But the banking sector, yes, of course, what kind of changes will happen. Remember the video I showed you? I said that technology is one thing, digital technology. Number two, social distancing, right? And these are the things. And the third is, the contactless. So how the entire range of banking services, will be moving towards that. That is where you need expertise. That is where you need people, their skills, and what could it be? Even for example, let's say when you talk about various kind of back-end processes in the banking, now how do you deploy technologies that you can be, working from distance, from different places remotely? So that is where not only you need your management, not only you need your commerce or other skills that we already have, but those things are basic. You cannot do away with the basic understanding of our domains. That has always been there. Only thing that is now added is your ability, not only in terms of your domain knowledge, but also in terms of your skills to cope with the social distancing, the digital technologies, and the contactless kind of a environment. Same applies to financial services and insurance. there are new products that are coming up in the insurance sector, and I'm sure you all know about it, right? So there are insurance, one of the problems we always, interacted with recruiters, that it is something which is a push kind of a product, and you have to kind of convince people, persuade people, talk to people, convince people about and highlight the significance of insurance. But because of this change scenario right now, more and more people actually are becoming more aware that what kind of insurances and what kind of measures are there for the safety and for the long-term benefit of me and my family. So that is why there's a demand. But then if there's a demand, how do you supply? How do you supply incorporating social distancing, incorporating digital technology, and incorporating the contactless, way of doing things? That is where they need people, but then people have to be skilled and competent, to deliver in that manner. Only the business processes are changing. Tax, audit, advisory, very critical. Right now, there are so many companies. The other day, we had the associate director of KPMG, talking to our students, and he's one of our recruiters, and he talked about that what kind of advisory and things, for example, there are many companies who are filing for bankruptcy. There are many companies who are having a lot of serious trouble in terms of the revenues, the kind of business compliances that they have to. Government has also come up with new changes in terms of maybe helping the businesses. So how do you get those kind of benefits? How do you comply with those requirements? So those kind of advisory suddenly has gone up, and that is where they need people. But then they need people who are good in understanding the concepts, that you are learning as part of your BCom, BBA, MBA, MCom, CA, all these courses. But also you have the competence of social distancing, digital technology, and contactless. Okay, education technology, big time. There are platforms, there are many already existing big names in the world of technology have moved into how do you create online platforms for learning. And there are learning management systems, Moodle based. For example, we have our own learning management system called QuickForce, Moodle based. Everything from learning, teaching, from materials which are there, from videos which are there, even conducting evaluations, submitting assignments, correcting evaluations, rubric based. Everything we have our learning management system. And these kind of systems, have been there. People have been working on it, and now because of this new scenario, we have to really rely on them. Educational technology companies like, for example, Byju's, Extramark, and so many other companies who also come to our campus, they are upbeat, they are coming out with, again, new things. Have you noticed now they are coming out with some kind of tournament, some kind of league? So K-12, they call it, what you call, from kindergarten to class 12. And then we also have so many other education technologies which are emerging in higher education as well. So this is one area where there is hiring, and they need people. Information technology and IT-enabled services is another areas where because of the new technologies related to information technology and communication technology, there is a demand. It's not that, there are major products. Now the major projects are about all these technologies that we are using. And that is where they are hiring in terms of various other areas which are non-technical, which are for people belonging to the backgrounds that we are talking about right now, right? E-commerce, big time. I understand that many of the people who have businesses, they are, getting into that e-commerce platform. But then I will touch upon certain things about, starting of your own. So you'll see that what are the things which are applicable to all the sectors if you start a business, some key points. But these are the sectors where jobs are there, okay? They are going to emerge now. They are going to soon come up with, requirements for freshers. Manufacturing, very critical, because that is one sector which had been hit before COVID. And now one of the ways is because, earlier there was what was happening is there's some places in the world who had actually developed their competence in manufacturing, and it was concentrated in those geographies, some countries. But now, because of spreading of the risk and various other geopolitical and so many other factors, manufacturing is a little bit getting distributed across. And one of the things that has to come up, and people are also getting into these kind of what you call activities in India slowly, where there are opportunities. Uh, they say that data is the new oil, right? Everything is data sciences. So when I'm talking about all these sectors, whether you are talking about retail, telecom, FMCG, about telecom, how critical now data has become. That is what I say. Data is the new oil. So when we are connecting, and we have to connect and we have to interact, and that is where economy is, that is where human activities are, through this interactions, through the communication, collaboration of people. And what is driving that, that is for example, the internet. So all the technologies and all the devices that we use are based on internet, and industry 4.0 is based on internet. And that is where telecommunication is another sector where there are opportunities which are emerging, right? FMCG and retail. But retail, there has to be retail. But the thing is, what goods and services that will undergo change, that has been undergoing change, and what is the way of reaching out to the customer? Whether is the way of the customer getting the goods and services. That is the way the changes are. But these are the sectors. Recruiters, when we spoke and we have been interacting, they have been showing that yes, we have need for people. Okay, so now career opportunities are in this area, focusing now from the sector, the careers. What kind of careers? Digital payments, cloud computing. And mind it, I'm not talking about engineering. I'm talking about people from commerce background, people from management background. And there are roles here in cloud computing, content creation, digital content creation, healthcare, of telemedicine, for example. Today, Times of India headline, one of the front page news you'll see about, how the tele consultation with doctors. And when these kind of things happen, there are a lot of other activities where you need people who are techno commercial, who are management people, to facilitate these kind of processes. Cyber security, big area, because everything is now cyber, and therefore security issues. E-commerce, online education, insurance. Then we have another page, supply chain, a big time problem. How do you reach the end user, right? And that last mile connectivity is now again a big thing in terms of infrastructure, in terms of technology. That is where you have opportunity for jobs as well as for business. Robotics and automation, industry 4.0. That's what I told you. You have to apply technologies which are robotics and automation. Analytics, again, I mean, for a B school now, analytics is the in thing. Everybody, whether you talk about human resource management, whether you talk about accounting, whether you talk about financial management, you talk about operations, marketing, everywhere, the fundamental is about data, evidence, data, and we are talking about big data, and we are talking about tools, technologies, tools, and to analyze that data, and then the predictions. How do we look at what you call the kind of scenarios that we are going to build. So analytics is again even in IBS, we have a lot of electives on analytics, and there are what you call various companies who come for hiring people for analytics, and that's going to continue. And customer care is another very challenging for most of the organizations, and I'm glad to see that many organizations are slowly emerging and coming up. Even I personally have been requiring customer care for many other things, including telecommunication. And I know and I have experienced how it was from March 24th till April 14th, and then in the next lockdown, and now how it is. I can see that it has improved, that it is improving. So customer care, that is where the opportunity is. We cannot escape these technologies of artificial intelligence and machine learning. So that is very much part of Industry 4.0, and all of us, have to be familiar with this and must know how to leverage these technologies. Digital marketing, already it was coming up, it was emerging, it was the in thing, and many B schools have been, teaching and providing opportunities for digital marketing. And now suddenly, because of this scenario, it has again become so important, right? So these are the areas. Now, to sum it up again, I will show you a small video again to understand that where is the human element. There are some technologies which has to be there, but then there are some human elements where you fit in, and the skills and the knowledge and the abilities that you have to develop and the opportunities are there. Okay, so I'm just again showing you a small video which I'm going to share now. Okay, just hold on. So watch this video to understand where you fit in actually, the jobs, where are these kind of jobs? Okay, I hope you are able to view this.
Once upon a time, business as usual was often good enough. No more. Where we are going, good enough is dead. In a world where everything is connected, where everything is equally excellent, where performance is reaching perfection, there's only one space left to innovate in: you. Right now, you are a central point in the raging tornado of change fueled by digitization, mobilization, augmentation, disintermediation, automation. Well, the list goes on. Science fiction is becoming science fact. Think about self-driving cars or computers that can learn and think. The way we work will never be the same. The skills we need will be dramatically different. Winning or losing are now happening faster than ever before. So what's your response? How will you discover new opportunities in one of the most transformational times in human history? Are you driving change, or are you being driven by it? Disruption has become the new normal. With change, it's always gradually, then suddenly, well, things really have stopped happening gradually. This change is exponential. Everything that used to be dumb and disconnected is now wired and intelligent. Cars, cities, ports, farms, even our bodies will be wired with sensors and will talk to each other. These game changers are also combinatorial. They amplify each other, creating a perfect storm of change. Quantum computing fuels big data. The Internet of Things fuels artificial intelligence and deep learning, which fuels robotics. However, anything that cannot be digitized or automated will become extremely valuable. Human-only traits such as creativity, imagination, intuition, emotion, and ethics will be even more important in the future, because machines are very good at simulating, but not at being. Yes, robots and software will do some of our work, but this will allow us to focus on things that cannot be automated. To imagine change squared, you've got to start engaging more with what might be, not just with what is. Immerse yourself in the immediate future, 5 to 7 years out from today. We need to go beyond technology and data to reach human insights and wisdom. Technology represents the how of change, but humans represent the why. The future is about holistic business model. The opportunity is to be liquid, to learn just in time, not just in case, not single improvements, but complete transformations, not individual systems, but new ecosystems. Humanity is where true and lasting value is created. We will engage, relate, and buy things because of the experiences they provide, because of their transformative power. The future doesn't just happen, the future gets happened. The new way to work is to embrace technology, but not to become it. The future is in technology, yet the bigger future lies in transcending it. Let's live and lead from here.
Okay, so what we learned from this video is what I've been telling you, that it is COVID or no COVID. The most important thing is that, what is happening right now is everything is getting connected. That is Industry 4.0. And today, when we talk about social distancing, that is what it is. We are connected. We are still connected. You are sitting at different places at home. I am sitting in a different place, and we are still connected. We are talking. We are trying to understand, how to navigate these changes. And digitization, automation, augmentation. Think about it. How about the travel and tourism industry today? Travel and tourism industry, it perhaps, in the foreseeable future, it is not that easy, like that we can go and travel like how we used to. Even overseas travel will be also restricted by the countries. They would not like, people coming in. So how do you do that? That is where opportunities are. I'm not only talking about job, I'm talking about entrepreneurship. For example, technologies like augmented reality, where and we have no choice but to leverage technology. That is what why I showed you the video. That we come from commerce background, come from management background, but management and commerce are all part of what you call the same thing that we are talking about. The internet of everything, they say. That is how the workplaces are. That is how the business models are now. Okay. And another thing that you learn from this video, which is very critical, that everything is becoming digitalized, everything is technology, but then there are things which are happening and which will happen, and how the future is for you is how do you transcend technology? Because human intervention, human insight is, human is what you call very much part of this whole transition. So we as human beings, we are not supposed to do what the machine can do. We are supposed to bring our human insights, our wisdom, how? Through creativity, right? Through creativity and the kind of emotions and the kind of ethics that we have. So that is where the role of that is where the role of human beings and what we look at the future. Okay, now continuing, moving ahead, I'm just talking about a few things about the role of higher education. Okay, now people who want to go for higher education, why do you want to go to higher education? Simple, the kind of skills, the kind of knowledge and the wisdom we are talking about in the new economy. And these are the things, what have been, we are getting inputs from the industry, that you must take up higher education or take up modular courses like certification in the areas of fintech, finance, because, for example, contactless payment, even right now, some of my students are just who have graduated, and they have been placed, and now they are working on an idea about, electric vehicles battery. That project again, and them. I'm trying to mute because, okay. Fine. There were a lot of noise in the background, so I just tried to mute. So what I'm trying to tell you is that those who are looking for jobs and those who are looking for creating opportunities in entrepreneurship, these are the areas: fintech, analytics, digital marketing, market research, and jobs. I'm talking about jobs. And you have to take up courses in these areas. You are BCom, BBA, doesn't matter. There are courses on AI and machine learning. You will find it in Coursera, for example. HR analytics, marketing analytics. Then other things like for data analysis, you have Python and various other what you call technologies that you have to learn, programming languages, which is essential for even management students. Our students go through all these certifications here. Data visualization is very important. For example, Power BI, Tableau, and all that. Predictive analytics, advanced Excel. Then I'm sure those of you who are coming from commerce background and finance and BBA, NISM courses, they have a lot of courses and certifications. That is, National Institute of Securities Markets. Then NCFM, that is again NSC Academy certification in financial markets. These, or you know, what you call, if you go to their websites, they are offering all the time a lot of certifications specific to, for example, security markets, you know, investment, what you call, financial planning, and so on and so forth, related to everything related to financial products and services. So these are courses and many other higher education. You know, for example, in our institute, you know, we have courses on fintech. We have an elective on fintech. We have analytics 3-4 courses, and also, you know, Excel and other things. That is how our what you call recruiters want our students, apart from the domain knowledge. And this is what is now, you know, your immediate requirement, you know, for you to add on to your knowledge and skills apart from this. So again, as I said, you know, in higher education, these are the areas where your commerce background, your management background has to be aligned to. Blockchain technologies, just like we have cloud computing, and what kind of blockchain technologies, you have to have basic understanding of it, and you have to see that how it is impacting your area, and what are the area, you know, areas from, as a commerce student, as a management student, you know, that you have to learn. There are courses, you know, certification courses, artificial intelligence, AI, you know, user interface, user experience design, business analysis, affiliate marketing, very important now because of the social distancing. You know, you can also take up some courses. There are companies who are now focusing on affiliate marketing, right? And video production, even augmented reality. For example, I was telling you about tourism. Those of you who are thinking about, you know, business ideas, one of the biggest ideas about how do you use technologies related to augmented reality, because you understand 5G is coming, right? 5G in the augmented reality, how it can perhaps work in the world of tourism, right? So those are opportunities for you. Then another area of learning through our higher education is these are the things that we are looking for. Particularly, I would say, you know, networking skills, which is not the earlier networking, but now networking through social distancing, through leveraging digital technology, right? Ability to collaborate together. You know, how do you collaborate as a team, you know, working from different places? That is another skill. And communication, definitely all the time, but I'm focusing more on the emotional intelligence. You know, we go through a lot of changes, and because of the changes, we can experience certain stress, certain distress, you know, and how do we overcome it? How do we focus and change our, you know, behavior and our emotions, adjust our emotions to the new normal that we are talking about? And in the video, we saw the new normal, you know, they are talking about, you know, what is new normal? Disruption. So disruption will always be there. New normal is not the post-COVID situation. You know, already there is a new normal which is in place. That is disruption. Technology is disrupting the way we do things. So how do we, you know, adjust? You know, emotional intelligence is about self-awareness. You know, my strengths, my emotions, my weaknesses, the areas where I have to improve, the areas that I have strength, and how do I leverage that strength? You know, how do I build up on my strength in order to, you know, exploit or take advantage of the opportunities, right? And overcome the threats. That is emotional intelligence. Self-regulation. You know, we need some kind of discipline, you know, because how do I, you know, face myself the 24 hours, you know, without going to a socializing kind of environment in the workplace, right? So how do I learn? How do I unlearn? How do I work? How do I create value? You know, all being myself. That is where we need a lot of self-regulation, empathy, understanding about the other person also. Very important. Putting yourself in the shoes of the others. You know, that is where your skill is very important today, right? Social skills through social distancing. And finally, we talk about what you call, yeah, that is what we are talking about, emotional intelligence and interpersonal skills. Okay, now moving ahead quickly, you know, I'm talking about the last part of the presentation, the self-employment. And here I am putting on another slide. Just hold on. Self-employment, what I'm going to talk to you is that when you talk about idea, just hold on. I'm putting on another slide. on self-employment. People think that idea is everything. That is not what entrepreneurship is. You know, entrepreneurship is associated with you know, things like what I'm just going to share. Just hold on, okay? I'm putting on another slide. Okay, here it goes. The opportunity recognition, that is very important. It is not about ideas. You know, most important is the problem. That have you identified the right problem to be solved? You know, when we take the approach that, oh no, there is this situation, there is COVID, there is this thing, you know, I have to come out with some idea. So how do you come out with some idea? You know, idea must not exist in vacuum. You know, that I have an idea, you know, so people, guys, you know, please, you know, buy what I'm selling. No, it doesn't work like that. You know, first is, can you or have you identified a problem that you have to solve? You know, and that is, then the next step is ideation. So see, this is what I'm going to show you. People have needs, okay? People always have needs. Whether they had needs, you know, in the ancient times, they had needs in the Middle Ages, they had need before the internet, they had need before COVID, and now also during COVID we have needs, and post-COVID also we will have needs. And all the needs are in this category, for example. You know, so now you think of it, because of the COVID, you know, now that you are talking about COVID, you know, because of the COVID, what are the changes in the physiological needs that we have? What are the needs that we have in the safety needs? What are the needs in our belongingness and love, that is social needs? What are the esteem needs we have, and what are the self-actualization needs we have, right? So all these needs were earlier influenced and, you know, by various factors, including, for example, the culture and the entire environment that we were living in. But now the environment has changed, you know, particularly when we talk about the health situation. And then how do we now look at food? You know, look at it. The vegetables, the grocery has become so important in our life. Earlier, we had moved into junk food, right? Earlier, our need was junk food. Now we are coming back to, you know, coconut water, turmeric. So understand, you know, how people's needs are changing, how people's safety needs are changing. You know, we had so many other aspirations that we will settle down on Moon and Mars, and we will emigrate and we will leave the planet and all sort of things. Now suddenly we have changed, you know, staying at home, right? So all these things, you know, social needs, for example, you know, how it has changed. Right now, one of the projects that two of my students are working on along with me is again the social needs. Because how do we, you know, be part of a platform where we can do social things, but at the same time, you know, we are also learning. So that is what we are working on. So how do we come out with these ideas? You know, we come out with these ideas by trying to understand the problems that we are facing. And when we see the problems as an entrepreneur, you don't look at the problems as oh my God, it is a problem. You look at it, oh my God, it's a great opportunity. Right? So that is what the first thing is. And how do you look at it? These three things, you know, the macro environment, what are the changes? Pastel, you know, some of you know what is pastel: political, economy, and socio-cultural, technological, environmental, legal. What changes are happening? You know, I already told you about technology. You already know about socio-cultural, you know, the kind of the population that we have, the India that we have, where what kind of you know, cultural, social issues we have, and what is happening because of this pandemic situation, and therefore what changes are happening in the socio-cultural, and what changes are happening in the technological, and where do I see people have problem, and that is why I as an entrepreneur has an opportunity, right? So that is a very, very important skill, because as an entrepreneur, you know, no one can come. You need a mentor, you need a guide. But the mentor and the guide is not there to generate ideas for you and you will go and win the race. It doesn't happen in entrepreneurship. You know, it happens as an entrepreneur. You must develop this competence of identifying problems, right? And then the next area where you look at, understand is the industry. how changes are happening. Remember, I already told you about industries, what are the changes that is happening. So important thing is, what kind of resources, what kind of competences do you need to be able to solve those problems, right? If you do it, so resources are limited. You are studying, right? Resources are scarce. It is not unlimited. If resources were unlimited, there was no problem. You and I would not be talking today. Resources are limited, and as an entrepreneur, as someone, or as a manager, if you are working, same thing. How do you utilize limited resources? Why do you want to utilize? Because every industry has some critical success factors. You must be able to deliver. Today, what is the problem? If you have grocery, if you have Amazon, if you have Flipkart, if you have your own card, the challenge is, how do you deliver on time, right? That is a big challenge. So you need technology, but you need also ways to deliver it. You also have to be contactless. You also have to be maintaining social distance, right? So these are challenges in every sector of the business. So how do you overcome it with the kind of resources and the kind of competences that you build in, right? That is very important for an entrepreneur before you jump into something. And the third and the most important thing is, do you know for whom you are doing it? If I have an idea, that doesn't mean that it will work. My idea must be a solution to the problems that I identified. Now the question is, who has that problem, right? Who has that problem? And that guy is in the market. So that is called the market, the customer. Who is your customer? And now, who is your customer cannot be just limited to my mom and dad, my brothers and sisters, because I have done it, they are buying it. No, now who is the customer? The answer is very simple. Just because if you come to me and say, sir, I'm working for a company who brings Rolls Royce to India. Would you like to have a Rolls Royce? My answer is yes, I would like to have a Rolls Royce in my garage. So if you come tomorrow, sir, here is your Rolls Royce. I will not buy. I don't have the money for it, right? But then you thought that I am a customer because I told you, oh, yes, I would like to have a Rolls Royce. That is not a customer, okay? Customer is someone who is able and willing to buy. So you have to, as an entrepreneur, think about someone who has the ability to buy and who is willing to buy. Why would someone be willing to buy? Remember I showed you the Maslow's hierarchy of needs? Because I need it. And to what extent I need it? If you try to sell today, sir, would you like to buy a tie or would you like to buy a mask? Of course, I would like to buy a mask, which has a good ventilator and which has got good protection, right? So that is more important for me today than a tie, for example. Right? So you have to understand the changes in the need. General Motors, Tata Motors, they make cars, but they are now also making ventilators because that is where the need is. So now the next question in the market is, apart from who is the customer, how many of them are there, right? How many of them are there? Very important. Otherwise, your business will be there for 3 months. If you do not have the critical mass, if you do not have people who will be repeatedly buying from you, and if you do not have a product portfolio which can provide the, those solutions to the problems that you are targeting, what will happen is you will not have a sustainable business, right? So that is what you are supposed to do right now before you come out with a jump with an idea. And the third important thing is, how I am going to solve it, right? So this is the customer. These many of them are there. This is the problem, and now I have to solve. That is where your idea comes. And then if you have the idea, you need the right team. And that is what is entrepreneurship in the 21st century, pre-COVID, post-COVID, okay? This is what is entrepreneurship. This is what, brings you resources. This is what brings you investment. It is not about me and my journey. It is about, do you have the right team? Why? Remember, I showed you something. I showed you this part. The critical success factors. If you have to deliver the critical success factors to remain, or to continue to exist and participate in the industry and satisfy customer needs continuously, you must have the right team. The right kind of skills, the right kind of competences. One person, only you will not have it. Right? So what kind of complementary skills, what kind of competences you must have, that you have to identify based on the markets and the industry structure, right? If you are able to do that, then only you will know whom do you want in a team. You want so-and-so because he studied together with me in BCom and BBA. Wrong. I want so and so because he's my cousin. Wrong. Right? Whom do you want? You want people in the team who brings in some skills, some competences, and some resources perhaps. And they are capable of delivering the critical success factors. Okay? So that is what is entrepreneurship. And there will be failures. And that is how the journey of entrepreneurs. And what is failure? This is the opportunity to learn and learn from the mistakes. Is a very cliched kind of thing. What I'm trying to tell you is, this is the way you fine tune your product and services to align it with the market needs. That means that what the customer needs. If you're able to do it, you have a great business. You are the next Flipkart. You are the next Amazon, right? So that is what I would like to put it across to you. And think about it, what we have discussed today in terms of the sectors where there are opportunities. And I have been told that you have been getting a lot of inputs about how to prepare. That is not the scope of my presentation today. So I'm sure you are taking initiative in terms of what kind of, how do I acquire those skills that we are talking about? How do I prepare myself for the sectors that I'm talking about? And the kind of jobs that I told you, how do you prepare is a different thing. I'm sure, you have various kind of other platforms where you are learning that. And then the second part is higher education. Yes, very critical because of the kind of wisdom economy that we are, the kind of knowledge and insights that you are required to be, relevant. Why would a company hire someone? Why would company pay someone at the end of the month? You will have a SMS in your mobile phone coming that your salary is credited. What have you done in the month, right? That is very critical. That is what is gig economy. That is what I'm telling you, gig economy. Just do any research, GIG, gig economy. What is gig economy? That is how the future is. So how do I stay relevant? Answer is simple, with unlearning and relearning new skills, right? We have to keep on doing it. Today we are talking about certain things I showed you: artificial intelligence, machine learning, analytics, fintech, edutech. Do you think, after 5 years, the same thing will be there? I don't know. You also don't know. I also don't know. Nobody knows, right? Something new will come. So the ability to keep on learning, unlearning, relearning, to adapt, to these changes is very important. And that is what you are doing through other platforms. But today, immediately, post-COVID situation and the COVID situation, these are the important things that you have to do. And those of you who really want to start up, I would say that, yes, how do you identify the problem? That is very important. What is the problem that you have identified? Then think about the solution, right? And what are the parameters I showed you? This is very critical. Then only you will have success in the business. But there is not a guarantee. Business is a long drawn process. So many things. Why do startups succeed? Why do startups fail? That is, it will take perhaps 1 month to discuss. Every day, if I discuss, 5 hours with you, it will take 1 month to finish why startups fail. You can still find out some reports. How do you avoid those pitfalls, right? The starting point is what I showed you. That is the starting point. Fine. So I believe, for all three, approaches, that job, higher education, very critical to develop your knowledge, in-depth knowledge, so that you can provide insights and wisdom, and that is why you remain employable and relevant. And also you can become adaptable. And finally, the people who are going to start, where is the starting point? That is the starting point. Okay. So thank you very much, for participating and being there in the webinar. And I believe that I have run out of time. So I hand it over to the host, who is fine. Thank you so much. Any questions if you have?
Hello, sir. Thank you. Thank you
Hello.
so much. Yeah. Hello. I'm Juhi Singh. I think I've spoken to you earlier as well.
Oh, yes, yes, Juhi madam. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah. Thank you.
I hope, I have touched upon the aspects that you thought that it would benefit your students. I hope,
Yes, you have. And it was very appropriate, very relevant. and very insightful as well. And it was good to see that education also has a future. I mean, most of us were worried,
Yes, yes.
but going
No,
tech,
ma'am, it has a future, and of course, we all have to adapt and adopt technologies, and sure, ma'am, all of us will overcome all the uh, barriers that comes our way. Ma'am.
yes, yes. Thank you so much, sir. On behalf of St. Philomena's College and the Department of Commerce and Management, we thank you profusely for having participated in our today's webinar and giving such a wonderful session to our students. Thank you so much, sir. At the same time, I would like to also thank our St. Philomena's rector, vice rector, principal, vice principal, and the Dean of Commerce and Management, Dr. Rina Francis, and the faculties for having extended their great support in organizing this webinar. So we'll just take a few questions from the students if they have any, sir. Is that okay?
Yeah, yeah, sure, yes, fine. And also let me add on to both you as well as the entire students, that in terms of entrepreneurship, anything, like I told you, what is the starting point, and beyond that, if you need some kind of advice, guidance, and interaction, please, ma'am, be in touch with me. Nowadays it is very easy, like we can always touch base through technology, and I'll be very happy if there are some interested people, genuinely they are interested, and I'll be very happy to give my 2 cents worth, right?
Yes, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So
Thank
let's
you.
just have a look at the questions from the students if they have any.
Yeah, if you have anything, fine, or otherwise you can always touch base with me through madam, you can put your questions to Professor Juhi, and if she can pass it on to me, I will always try to, come back on it, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you so much, madam.
Thank all our students also for having participated in today's session. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
So
you.
I take leave then.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank
Welcome. Bye-bye.
you. Have a good day, all of you all the students. Please wait for some instructions from Assistant Professor Angelin regarding your e-certificates.
Hello everyone, I request all the participants to fill in feedback form which has been posted in WhatsApp group. This link would be available only for the next 2 hours. If you have any issues with regard to e-certificate, please do feel free to contact us. And last but not least, I wish all the participants to have a great day ahead. Thank you all.